Hi, and welcome to my kitchen. We've got all this lovely rain that's moving across the whole country. It's not raining at the moment, so I sent my kid outside to burn off some energy. But today is asparagus. I'm going to be canning down some pickled asparagus. So let's get started. To make your brine, I've got 1 part water and 3 parts white distilled vinegar. So for mine, because I'm doubling that, I've got 2 cups of water and 6 cups of white vinegar that I am just putting in my saucepan here because I'm going to heat this up. I also want to put just a couple of teaspoons of sugar, not much, just a little bit of sugar. And I forgot my salt. I normally try to have that out so I don't have to open that cabinet, but whatever. So now I'm going to do a couple of teaspoons of salt in there with it. And with pickling, you can use whatever you want. I have got these pre-mixed pickling spices. You can mix up your own if you want. So I'm just going to put a little bit of this in there. Now I'm going to get this on the stove to warm up. I've already got my stock pot with water and a splash of white vinegar in there. The vinegar just keeps the jars from getting cloudy. So I've got that warming up. I'm going to put this on to warm up because we are going to be water bathing the asparagus. So we want everything to be the same temperature. That way we don't crack a jar. All right, let's get this on the stove and then we'll get to work on the rest of it. Now I have washed all of our asparagus, but what I want to do is I want to cut off just the very end, just this hard piece here. Not very much, see, just a little bit. Now you're going to want to take and figure out roughly where the asparagus is going to land. You can buy the tall, pretty asparagus jars. I don't have any on hand. That just had hot water in it because I want to keep my jars hot. So I'm just going to see roughly. So I'll cut this about in half. And then pack them down in your jars. So let's get busy cutting up our asparagus. So my brain wasn't quite working. So I went ahead and I just packed my jars as I cut up my asparagus. But what I forgot to do was put a little bit of turmeric and red pepper flakes in there. Normally I would put that in the bottom of the jar before I put my asparagus in, but I forgot. So I'm going to put it in over top. It'll be fine. I'm just going to put a little bit. It won't fit. Okay. I'm just going to put a little bit down in each jar, not a whole lot, about 1/4 of a teaspoon of the turmeric, not a whole lot, just to give it a little flavor. Now, you don't have to add the turmeric if you don't want to. You don't have to add the red pepper flakes if you don't want to, but you can. And I can't get my fingers to work today. So now I'm going to take red pepper flakes because my husband likes them just a little bit spicy. And I'm just going to put a little bit in. You can put however many you want in there. I just want enough to flavor the jar a little bit. Now he will come in, grab one of these jars off the shelf, grab a fork, and sometimes he doesn't even put them in the fridge to get them cold. He just eats them. So now I've got garlic that I peeled here, and I'm going to put garlic, two cloves down in each jar. And now we are ready to get these, put the brine on these. I'll get it out here in a minute. All right, let me grab my scoop and my funnel. So I've got my brine all warmed up here. I've got my jars. You can see I've got the garlic down in there. I've got the turmeric and pepper on top because I forgot to put it in the bottom of my jar. So now I'm just going to take my brine.
Smells good.
I'm going to scoop up my brine and fill my jars. Now remember, you want to leave about 1 inch of head space. And there's the jar. Okay, I'm going to go ahead, get these other jars filled, and then we will get them ready to go in the water bath. Now that I've got my jars filled, move that out of the way, I'm just going to take a clean paper towel and some white vinegar here. I'm just going to put it on my paper towel. And wipe the rims of my jars. This will just get any residue that you have on there off. Just wipe it really quick. Now, if you want to do a refrigerator batch, what you would do, especially if you only have a jar or two, at this point you would just put the lid on, let them cool down a little bit, and then put them in the refrigerator, and they're ready to eat within 24 hours. But since I had several jars here, I had six pints, I wanted to go ahead and can them, and that way they would be on the shelf and ready to go. Now I had my flats in warm water. I'm just going to put my flats on now that I've cleaned all of my rims. I set my rings somewhere. I thought they were right here. Let me grab my rings. I think my kid moved them on me. But I've got my rings, so we're going to want to put them on just fingertip tight. Now these will process in a water bath for 15 minutes. And then I will take them out and let them cool for 24 hours before I remove my rings. So let me get these in my stock pot. If you want to use your canner, you can, but always make sure you have the little trivet down in there so that the jars are not sitting on the bottom of the canner or the stock pot or whatever you are using to can. So I just grabbed my smaller stock pot. It only holds 4 jars. So I'm going to do 4. And then I'll probably just put these 2 in the refrigerator so that my husband will have some to eat as soon as he gets home from work today. I'm going to let these go. As soon as they come up to a boil, I'll start my timer for 15 minutes and then we'll be back. My timer just went off. So I'm going to grab my jars out. Look at that. Doesn't that look beautiful? These will start sealing down and popping here really quick. These out. All right. Thank you for joining me today and happy canning.